Hello and welcome to Joyful, the podcast that will help you live a more joyful life. I'm your host, Chloe Markham, and it's my mission to help you find more joy every single day. This podcast is a deep dive into ways to reduce your stress, your overwhelm, anxiety, and that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whilst also diving into the methods, philosophies, and protocols that help us live more connected, grounded, and ultimately happier lives. This is about living life on purpose. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, my friend, and welcome to Joyful with me, Chloe Markham. I'm really excited to be here. It's been a little while since I have reached my dulcet tones, have reached your ears. And many reasons, my mum has just had a hip replacement, and I've been the sole carer, which has been a privilege and a challenge. Anyway, here we are. I'm leaning into this kind of slower pace of life, and maybe that means my podcast will come out bi-weekly, but really the most important thing is delivering stuff that is of value to you. I want to positively impact your life. That is why I am here. And, I have to take care of myself as a facet of that. And can that be a reminder? Can I set some precedent for everybody around me right now? We have to take care of ourselves first. Yeah, magical cue jazz hands. Okay, so welcome to Joyful. I know this is perhaps not the name of the podcast you expected. The Yoga Revolution podcast has brought me to this place, and the Yoga Revolution is my membership, and I love it. I do love it. The Yoga Revolution, by the way, my membership is way more than just yoga, and the podcast is the same. Who knows, maybe I'll change the name of the membership someday, but right now I love it. But the podcast is reflective of where I'm going as a teacher and a coach and a guide. And it is way more, my love, can I just say, way more than just yoga. Yoga's a brilliant, beautiful tool. And by yoga, I'm talking about yoga asana, the physical practice of yoga. But and I know some of you guys perhaps aren't in the depths of yoga like I have been, and that's okay, but I just want to tell you and remind you that yoga is basically a philosophical model for or through which we can live our lives. And there are loads of these models in the world that I'm in love with. Stoicism is one of them, Epicureanism is another. I love these ancient Greek philosophies. And yoga is another kind of way of thinking about our existence and how we make it more mindful and grounded and connected and ultimately more joyful, in my opinion. So this is my interpretation of all of this stuff, right? And some people interpret the yoga philosophy, I suppose, and go vegan, and that's okay. And you might be vegan, and that's okay. I love that I'm talking about veganism because it's always such a hot topic, isn't it? I am not vegan though, and I don't believe you need to be vegan. So if you're thinking, and you've heard yoga teachers say before, yoga is more than just the practice. They're so true, but sometimes it can get woo-woo and like, okay, you need to be meditating like 3 hours a day, and you need to be, eating raw vegan food and, abstaining from sex and all of these things. And you do you, girlfriend, you do you, but that's not what I'm here about or for. It really doesn't involve diet necessarily, or your sex life, or any of that stuff. My interpretation of this is as a bunch of tools and protocols to support us in living more connected lives. This is why I've changed the name, baby. So Joyful is our aim, is my aim for you and for me. Because I just want to remind you that you and I were both on this spaceship hurtling through space toward our ultimate demise. Whether you're aware of that every day, every minute, or not, whether you want to accept that or not, it's a fact. And I don't mean the world's going to implode and climate change and whatnot. That's a whole other topic, and maybe I'll talk about that sometime. But I just mean that your time here is super finite, incredibly finite. But I think we wander through our lives forgetting that. And I wrote a piece this morning on the blog. Please follow me on the blog. I love writing. And I wrote about Stoicism this morning. Stoicism being this kind of, again, ancient Greek philosophy about how we can react a bit less and respond a bit better to challenges of life. So it's taking control of the things that we actually truly have control of. So our thoughts and actions and words, and letting everything else be there. Radical acceptance, which, by the way, is the theme this month in the Yoga Revolution membership too. But I love this concept of allowing and, leaning into these tools to help us live more joyful lives. And on that token, on that note, I know that sometimes we can think of positive, what is it called? Toxic positivity, no bad vibes, peace sign. And that's not what I'm talking about either. I'm talking about taking care of ourselves in sometimes quite challenging ways. Asking ourselves challenging questions, facing up to our faults and the things that are wrong in our lives, quote unquote wrong, and learning to accept them and even love them. And again, like the Stoics, control what we can control. So it's not sunshine and rainbows, cake every day. In fact, Epicureanism, I mentioned this earlier, another ancient Greek philosophical model, is based on happiness and how we should probably just prioritize that above everything else. But they also, like I am doing, and I base all my kind of learnings from these different modalities, but they talk about this concept of, okay, you can eat a whole chocolate bar and that's going to make you feel happy, like a family size one. And look, we've probably all been there, and it's joyful in the moment. It is fucking brilliant in the moment. And then wait 10 minutes and you feel grim. And you probably feel grim for like 24 hours. Like, I don't know, we just had Mother's Day here and I ate cake pretty much constantly all weekend. And I monitor my sleep probably way too much, but I really notice a difference. After eating cake all weekend, my sleep is crazy bad. And it's okay, I'm not moaning about that. I think cake's important in life. I genuinely think that. But look, happiness isn't just eating cake, It's not just these hedonistic quick fixes of lightness and brightness. It's actually, how do we find lightness and brightness in a sustainable way over time? And how do we spread that around, I think, too, because that makes it more sparkly. And so that really is the reason for Joyful, the reason for this podcast change, my mission here as a membership owner and as a coach, because this is something I'm doing individually and one-on-one. I'm really excited about that. And really what I'm excited about is helping support women who feel overwhelmed and stressed and anxious all the time, some level of those things all the time, and who look at social media and think, everyone looks to be doing better than me and I don't get it, because I understand that yoga exists and meditation exists. It's not, new to me. I understand that these tools have a place in the world, but they just don't work for me in the way that these social media influencers claim they do. I think this is where I come in. This is where I'm excited to support you and help you with perspective and using these tools in a more palatable, digestible, accessible way, and helping you see the wood for the trees, be held accountable for your blocks, and make more impact with these tools and modalities and protocols and all of this stuff than you thought possible. Because ultimately, again, let me remind you, we are hurtling through space towards our own demise. We're not going to be around for long. We're going to be around in this version of our lives for even less. And by this version, I mean in the house you're living in, with the kids the age they are, with your partner the way that they are, with, your job the way that it is. Things change all the time. This is the nature of reality, right? How can we be more resilient to that? How can we enjoy the ride more? How can we get to the end of our days and think, wow, that was brilliant and I lived on purpose? I talk about it all the time in my yoga classes, right? Breathing like you mean it. And I mean that. And that's important. But how do we live like we mean it? How do we live like we mean it? How do we break free of old cycles of stress and anxiety and these crazy patterns of negativity in our head that society has taught us to lean into and live more joyfully? It's my mission to help you get there, my friend. It's my mission to uncover the secrets of thousands of years of humanity. That feels like a big job, but I just mean going back into these philosophies and ideas and bringing them into right now, making them palatable, making them impactful, and living happier and more connected lives. What else is there? What else is there? In the meantime, this is probably a cue to maybe go and eat a little bit of cake. Not the whole cake, but maybe a little bit, if that's going to make you happy right now. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to Joyful with Chloe Markham. Stay tuned for another episode, a proper episode, really soon. And thank you for being on this journey with me. All the links to the yogarevolution.co.uk and to chloemarkham.co.uk, my new coaching hub, they are in the show notes. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, give me a rating. I appreciate all of this stuff. And I will see you in the next episode. Loads of love. Thank you so much for listening, my friend. I hope you're feeling sparkly and inspired to live a more joyful life. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a rating. These things are invaluable to me, and share it with people who need it. This is about inspiring more people to be more connected and lead happier and more joyful lives. Join my inner circle for more inspiration. Learn more at the website theyogarevolution.co.uk and chloemarkham.co.uk. I'll see you in the next episode.